Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're exploring a really fascinating stack of sources. We're going way beyond AI just assisting scientists.
Oh, way beyond.
We're talking about the emergence of AI systems that are, well, fully autonomous scientific collaborators.
Right. And this couldn't be happening at a more crucial time. Researchers are facing what they call the breadth and depth conundrum.
Okay, what's that?
Well, you have to be a hyper-specialist, know everything about one tiny field. But the biggest breakthroughs, the Nobel Prize kind of stuff, they demand transdisciplinary insight.
Like the CRISPR winners.
Exactly. Merging genetics, microbiology, molecular biology. The human brain just, it can't hold all of that anymore.
And the rate of new papers coming out is just overwhelming. So the solution space we're diving into is AI moving from like simple language generation to becoming actual verifiable research agents.
Things like the AI co-scientist and the Kosmos system.
We're not just summarizing things, they're performing the actual iterative process of discovery.
So our mission today is to really pull apart the mechanics here. How are these systems, with their self-correction and autonomous optimization, fundamentally redefining the research process itself?
Okay, let's start with the heart of it, the autonomous discovery part. This AI co-scientist. And we're not talking about some monolithic LLM here.
No, not at all. It's a compound, a multi-agent architecture built on Gemini 2.0. And its whole design, its whole structure specifically mirrors the scientific method.
So it's like a specialized committee running inside a computer.
That's a great way to put it. You have different agents for different tasks. One for generation, proposing hypotheses.
Okay.
Then you have reflection to critique those ideas, ranking to score them, evolution to refine them, and even proximity to check related literature and a meta-review agent for high-level oversight.
And they'll operate in a kind of a tournament.
A tournament, exactly. They're continuously debating and refining possibilities until they land on the strongest hypothesis for whatever the research goal was.
This is where it gets really interesting for me. The real-world validation. In biomedicine, researchers gave this system a task to explore a mechanism they had already discovered but hadn't published yet.
Right, so the test was, can the AI catch up to a human breakthrough on its own? They were looking at something really complex in bacterial evolution, specifically how these things called CFPICIs, they're like tiny parasitic machines in bacterial DNA, how they expand their host range.
And the AI co-scientist, it independently proposed the exact mechanism, that these CFPICIs interact with diverse phage tails to expand that range.
Yeah.
But here's the question. Since the human lab had already validated this result, how do we know the AI was truly discovering it?
That's a crucial point.
And not just, finding the highest probability answer based on all the data it already knew.
So the sources really emphasize this. The AI system got to this in silico discovery without being trained on the new experimental data. It proved it could predict a novel, complex mechanism that before this had only been found through tons of laborious lab work.
The novelty came from its own internal process.
From the iterative refinement, the testing of hypotheses within that multi-agent framework itself, yes.
Okay, so if we connect that idea to the bigger picture, there's another system called Kosmos.
Right.
Cosmos also starts with a research goal and a data set, but its big innovation is a structured world model to manage context.
And the scale this enables is just fascinating. That context management lets Kosmos run for 8 times as many discovery iterations as the older systems.
And for the human researcher, this is maybe the most important part. The verification is baked right in.
How so?
When Kosmos writes up its reports, every single statement, every figure is automatically cited.
Cite back to what?
To its source. Either a publication it read or the specific data analysis, like a Jupyter notebook, that it ran itself.
Wow. And the successes are starting to pile up.
They really are. Cosmos replicated analysis on nucleotide salvage pathways. It also identified SOD2 as a driver of myocardial fibrosis using some pretty complex stats, Mendelian randomization.
And maybe the most impressive thing, at least to me,
Go on.
it independently prioritized and identified the cis-regulation of the SSR1 gene by a protective variant for type 2 diabetes.
Without any external guidance.
I mean, that's a subtle and really high-stakes area of human genetics, and
Right.
it just did it.
The capability is obviously immense.
Right.
Which brings us to the elephant in the room. Can we actually trust the output?
Right, the big trust problem. Because for all this progress, LLMs still struggle with raw fact.
They absolutely do. They're susceptible to noise. They get tripped up by domain-specific terms, especially in medicine.
And of course, the hallucinations. fabricating facts.
The data's pretty stark. When they tasked LLMs to generate knowledge graphs, the factuality score, was only 40.2%.
Which is not great.
Not at all. Compare that to a specialized system, GraphMERT, which hit nearly 70%.
That's a huge gap. It means these autonomous systems, they need mandatory self-doubt.
And that's where the CRITIC framework comes in.
Correcting with tool interactive critiquing.
It's a system that forces the LLM to verify and self-correct its output over and over again.
Using that verify, then verify again cycle.
But not just by thinking harder. It leverages external tools.
Like web search or a code interpreter. And this is the crucial insight. The finding was that the LLM's own critiques, they only marginally improve performance.
So letting it check its own homework doesn't really work.
No. It just relies on the same faulty reasoning that got it to the error in the first place. Garbage in, garbage out. The consistent, reliable improvement came from interacting with those external tools.
An independent, verifiable source.
It breaks the internal error loop. It can fix bad reasoning or even just detect outdated knowledge.
Like what?
Well, there's an example where it uses the search tool to verify that Elizabeth Taylor, not Elizabeth Perkins, played Wilma's mom in the Flintstones movie. It needs that objective reality check.
And this philosophy is echoed in the React paradigm too, right? Interleaving thought with action.
Precisely. That synergy of thinking and doing just massively outperforms models that only reason internally. That combination of internal strategy and external verifiable action, that's the foundation for trust in these agents.
Okay, so now that we know they can verify their claims, let's look at what that verifiable output can achieve. We're shifting themes to specific breakthroughs. First up, math. An agent called AlphaVolve.
Right. AlphaVolve is a coding agent. It orchestrates an autonomous evolutionary algorithm. It uses LLMs to propose solutions. It has evaluators, and it has this rich context pool, all its past failures, so it learns from its mistakes.
And it has delivered actual, genuine, soda-breaking discoveries.
In analysis, geometry, combinatorics.
It improved the upper bound on the first autocorrelation inequality from 1.5098 down to 1.5053.
And it improved the lower bound on the second one from 0.8892 up to 0.8962.
So for those of us who aren't mathematicians, what does that number jump actually mean?
It means AlphaVolve found a more optimal, more constrained solution, a constructive function that, humans thought either didn't exist or couldn't be efficiently expressed.
And what's really fascinating is that its solutions often favor these highly symmetric objects.
Yeah, it suggests an evolved preference for mathematical elegance in its search. It's really cool.
Okay, so from abstract optimization in math, let's pivot to computational chemistry. We're looking at FEP omega. That's free energy perturbation omega.
And this is all about predicting binding affinity. Basically, how sticky a potential drug is to its target molecule.
Which is critical for drug design.
Absolutely. And FEP omega is a huge step forward because it decouples learning from parameterization.
What does that mean in practice?
Traditionally, running this kind of calculation required, painstakingly manual system-specific optimization for every single new drug target. FEP omega uses machine learning downstream of the core physics simulation to correct the small residual errors.
So it gets the fundamental physics right first, and then it just uses AI to clean up the noise.
Precisely. And this lets it achieve an error rate of subcalmal without all that manual tuning.
It eliminated the traditional bottleneck.
It really did. It's achieving accuracy that's comparable to or even better than commercial platforms, but at a substantially lower computational cost. It's making these predictions routine.
The theme linking all of these agents, Kosmos, CRITIC, AlphaVolve, is specialization. Which brings us to our final theme. Specialized architectures for enhanced complexity.
Because standard LLMs, they just hit a wall on these really deep, complex reasoning tasks.
Why is that?
Because that kind of reasoning requires computational depth. So one solution is the hierarchical reasoning model, or HRM.
Okay, tell me about that. It uses a unique structure.
It does. It has two coupled recurrent modules, a high-level one for abstract reasoning and a low-level one for the detailed computation.
And they're linked by something called hierarchical convergence. What does that mean?
It means the high-level module, the planner, can recursively query the low-level module for specific complex calculations at each step. It basically gives a small brain the capacity for massive on-demand computational depth.
And the performance is pretty astounding for its size.
Oh, it's wild. HRM only has 27 million parameters.
Tasimi.
Tiny. Yet it gets near perfect accuracy on tasks that are just intractable for huge LLMs. We're talking optimal pathfinding in massive 30 by 30 mazes, where even the big chain of thought models get 0% accuracy. They just fail completely.
And it also blew past leading models on the ARC AGI challenge.
Yeah, 40.3% compared to Claude 3.7's 21.2%. It's a clear sign that architectural depth and specialized design can easily beat sheer parameter count for these problems.
Okay, and for a totally different kind of specialization, we have Cell Whisper in genomics.
This is a multimodal AI for natural language analysis of single-cell transcriptome data.
It solves the accessibility problem.
Exactly. Scientists are generating millions of these single-cell datasets. Cell Whisper lets you use chat, just plain language, to explore these massive repositories. It turns millions of data points into a conversation you can have.
So if we step back here, the big takeaway seems really clear. AI is moving incredibly fast toward autonomous, specialized, and verifiable research.
I mean, systems like Kosmos are doing in a single run what used to take a human team months of work.
So what's your final synthesis on all this?
My take is that the future of AI performance relies completely on these specialized architectures. The multi-agent design, the world model, the two-module HRM structure, and the integration of mandatory external validation.
The web tools in CRITIC, the physics grounding in FP Omega.
That is how we build trustworthy, factual knowledge. The performance these agents achieve is the knowledge that has to be distilled back into the core LLMs of tomorrow.
So this all raises a really important question for you, the listener, and maybe the researcher. If these AI co-scientists can autonomously propose, refine, and even validate complex hypotheses all by themselves, what does the role of the human scientist evolve into?
Is it just defining the initial question, or guiding the process?
And what new constraints do we as humans have to learn to incorporate when our partner is this advanced and this autonomous? Something to think about as you go about your day.